God tells you to do something, that you are prepared. Tell, preach, teach. When God tells you to do something, specifically for Christians. Moses, wow, one of the most powerful men that was mentioned in the Old Testament. A friend of God. When he saw an Israeli person being abused, he went and killed him, bare hands. He was raised in the courts of Pharaoh by the daughter of Pharaoh himself. He went to the best schools, I would think. He had an extraordinary education. And yet, when he killed this Israeli person, he got afraid. He said, surely kill him for doing this. He fled out to a very far place in the wilderness. And one day, he's tending the sheep. You know, can you imagine going from the courts of the Pharaoh of Egypt, and all of a sudden, he's out taking care of sheep out in the countryside? And while he is taking care of the sheep, boring job, watching them eat grass. All of a sudden, he looks and he sees this bush that is burning. More curious, as he looked, the fire kept on burning. It didn't destroy the bush, it kept on burning. He went over to look at this, and a voice came out from the bush. And it was God talking to Moses. And God revealed to him his plan that he was going to do. He said, I've watched the suffering of the people in Egypt. And I want you, Moses, I want you to lead these people out of Egypt into the desert. And Moses said, you want me to take all the Israel people out into the desert? Now, to put this into perspective, the Bible said that there were about 600,000 men that were to go out into the wilderness. You had their wives and their children, okay? We're pushing 1.52 million, maybe even more people than that. Let's compare that to Taipei. That's probably the majority of Taipei. Going out into a place where there's no food, no water, and I think Moses thinks, yeah, that's a pretty good plan. Here it is, a miraculous burning bush before his eyes, and a voice talking to him, and he goes, God, what if I tell them this, and they won't listen to me? And God said, throw your staff on the ground. And when he did, what would happen? Oh my gosh! Turned into a snake! And he drops it. He runs for it, scared to death. And God said, okay, now pick it up by its tail. And he grabbed the tail. Here was his staff again. Miracle number one. The next thing, as he's looking there, God's talking, he's still, okay, that wasn't enough. Okay, rod into a snake. God, I'm still not convinced. So God tells him, okay, take your hand and put it into your cloak. Okay? Hold there for a second and take it out. And oh my gosh, what did he see? A hand that was infected with the most dreaded disease of that time, leprosy. It was ugly, and it sent a stroke of fear through his heart. Oh my gosh! God, are you going to leave me like a kid? Make it back to normal. I'll do what you said. God said, okay. Put it back in your cloak. Pull it out again. was healed right before his eyes. So here was Moses, and he saw these two miraculous things happening right in front of his eyes. Okay? Why? If that had literally turned into a snake and then it turned back into a rod, would you be impressed? Yes, Aragon. If you saw my hand and it was healthy and I put it in there and it came out looking just awful, okay? And you put it back in and it's healed, would you be impressed? Yeah. You know, you're talking to someone that's pretty powerful in that fire. And then Moses said, but God, there's one problem. I'm really afraid of public speaking. Yes, he was afraid. He said, I'm not an eloquent man. I'm a man of thick lips. Now, can you imagine having grown up in the finest educating places in Egypt? People that had the technology to build pyramids that would last all these years. People that had chariots that were the pinnacle of power at that time. He was raised in Pharaoh's house. I bet you that maybe he would have had speaking class. But he was afraid of it. He avoided it. And yet, when God needed him, he said, God, no, I can't speak. God's not too happy. He goes, do you know who you're talking to? I am the one who made the mouth. I am the one who gives the eyes to be able to see and the ears to be able to hear. I can teach you what to say. You just go and do it. I'll tell you what to say, and I'll be with you. God, please, send someone else, okay? And the Bible said, the anger of the Lord burned against Moses. God was not happy with him. Why? Because of his fear of public speaking. That's what I do now. Here comes Aaron, his cousin. He goes, okay, Moses, Aaron, I know he can speak well. So I'm going to be to you. I'm going to tell you what to say. You tell Aaron what to say, and let Aaron do the talking. Okay? Now, what I'd like to impress upon you as a Christian, we all want to be used of God. God, I want to do some great things for you. I believe in you. I believe in that you're my God, you're the creator. And yet, when it comes to the practical things that we can do, one very important thing is in speaking. So, Moses does lead these people out. Just to give you some perspective, remember when we had the Shanghai? I had never seen so many people in the streets of Taipei before, but he leads them out into the wilderness. But, you know what happened? One day when Moses was up on the mountain, talking to God, the people of Israel got impatient. And they told Aaron, they said, Aaron, why don't you make for us some gods that we can worship? It's okay, take off your earrings and your bracelets. And he took the gold and he built a golden calf. And the people worshiped this calf. And God told Moses, you get back down there, look what's happening. You see, God didn't choose Aaron. Yes, he spoke well, but there was something wrong with his heart, something flawed in his character. He wanted Moses. Now, if Moses had been ready, he could have bypassed this whole ordeal with Aaron and some of the sins that Israel went into because of that. So, there was a big price to pay for Moses not being ready. Another story. In the Bible, when Jesus was around, there was a man who was crazy. He was tormented, like that it said demons would get into his mind and they had to bind him up with chains, otherwise he'd just go on a rampage. His name was Legion. You know, nowadays it's sort of cool to wear these chains around here. Well, they say, all this guy wore chains. He was naked. All he wore were chains because they had to bind him up. And even then, he would break free and go crazy. And Jesus went and saw this guy, Legion. And he just spoke to him. And he told all the dark forces that were controlling the land to get out. And they went into a herd of pigs. Okay? And these pigs, the torment from those demons, they went well, and they just ran off a cliff. And finally, this guy Legion, he's in the right mind. And he said, Jesus, oh, please let me go with you, let me travel with you. I want to be with you. Because that torment that he'd been experiencing for years and years, and all of a sudden, he was a new person. It would be normal to want to be with the person that did that for you, right? But do you know what Jesus said to him? He said, no, I want you to go to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. Wow. Usually before you can go preach, you go to seminary. And this guy went from lunatic to preacher in a split second. Now, can you imagine Legion going back? And when we communicate, there are levels of how we communicate. Okay? You can say, some people can speak, and you hang on every word. Some people speak, and oh, they're so boring. Okay? Now, imagine Legion going back to the crowd's where he is. And when he arrives, people start running, because here's the crazy guy. Okay? And he goes, remember, she's running this way. No. I'm the crazy guy, but I'm different now. Jesus healed me. The demons are gone, and I'm normal now. Okay, now, that would qualify as going and telling what God did for him. But you know, I'm sure that maybe as he did this more and more, he might have improved in his storytelling. He might have been able to connect to people in a better way. He might say, oh, you know what? I look into your eyes, Aaron, and I just see that torment. You know, I was there. I know what it's like. But let me tell you, I also know what it's like to have the answer and have that taken away. And he might have told the story, what he used to do when he was crazy, what the feeling was. And people would take an interest in what he was saying, because this is the guy that they knew and saw for years and years. And he could improve, he could have followed what Jesus told him, but he could have done it good, he could have done it better, and he could have done it best, right, Neil? Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. So, what I want to explain is, in speaking, there are many ways in which you can communicate. There are preachers who are dynamic, that really reach in there and you want to cry, you feel so inspired, you feel so convicted, and their delivery is powerful and they know how to connect with people. And there are some which you start thinking about wanting to play baseball, TV show, pulling out your smartphone, looking at Facebook, right? So, as a Christian, the thing I want to challenge you is that it's not only just to be okay when God tells you to do something, that you are prepared. Okay. So, God told to go back and tell. And when you read through the Bible, when you think of the Bible stories, I want every time you see the word tell, preach, teach, I want you to take special attention. Because if you've ever prayed that prayer, God, I want to be used of you. There are some very simple things that Jesus told people to do, and a lot of it involved talking. And if you're going to do that, whether you're a small group leader, or whether you're the preacher in church, this is something that you have to face. I had a very interesting conversation with Christina Arquette, not our Christina Timer. She was with Heavenly Melody. They performed all over the place. She is an incredible pianist. And she's on TV for Let's Talk English for ORTV. And when I told her about this club, it's for public speaking, she goes, oh, I don't like public speaking. Amazing. Someone who's out in the spotlight, it is one of her fears